Good morning. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 5, which has to do with, well, psychosocial development, I guess, in childhood, early childhood. Um, and because we're talking about psychosocial development, I think this sometimes we get a lot of people kind of have a negative view of this. There are going to be some things that you read in this chapter. At first, you may have this reaction like, "Oh my God, this is horrible." Um, Especially in our culture, we tend to kind of think that the best way to raise children is to shove them out there in the world. Um, and then you have pockets of people in our culture who believe that the best way to do is raise children is to hold on tight. Um, I think that what we're going to find as we read this kind of material and talk and think and feel about psychosocial development in childhood is that number one is we're all different. We're all unique, and each child is unique, and so each child has different needs and wants. So you want to pay attention to, if you are the adult, you want to pay attention to that child. If the child doesn't really want to be held, or if the child wants to be held, you kind of follow that, and that's usually the best thing. Second thing is that we're going to find is that um, usually the middle ground is best, and then responding to the needs of the individual will kind of take us to one side or the other a little bit. Extreme is usually never the answer, the extreme reaction. All of us probably had times that we wanted to be held and hugged and stuff like that, and we weren't. All of us probably had times that we wanted to be left alone. Okay. So coming from chapter 4, where we probably touched a little bit on Piaget and his idea of learning by experiencing the world, we could get the idea that it would be best to leave children to their own devices. On the other hand, though, we'll also know that the interaction with the adult caregiver is important, because the adult asks questions, poses problems that the child then can solve in that interaction and learn better. So this kind of build on what we looked at last class. So this chapter starts with a discussion of trust and attachment. Erikson's theory is the center of this discussion. And Erikson's theory says that we grow and develop psychosocially from interactions and from having to solve problems, crises in ourselves and in the world around us. From infancy, the first crisis is trust and mistrust. So if you want your child to develop the ability to make decisions, good decisions, to be independent, you want to give them a good foundation of trust. We all are more independent, autonomous, intelligent, all this, when we know that when the rubber meets the road, that somebody's got our back. And that's what infants need to know, is that they have someone they can trust. If they cry, that somebody's going to be there and help them work through it, so that then one day they can do it on their own. Okay, so trust is essential there. This leads to the discussion of something called attachment, which really comes out of evolutionary psychology, understanding how humans interact with the world around them, and we're basically social beings, so we have a need for others. Not many people survived back in the day if they did not have other folks looking out for them. And if you think about it, If you're a baby, you really couldn't survive because, bang, you're laying out there on a rock, kicking your legs, and there's a bear coming. You need somebody to pick you up and carry you because you can't run on your own. Okay? So we naturally attach. We naturally look to others who we can trust to sort of show us the way. So attachment is a good thing. I warn you, please do not get confused here. I'm not talking about clinginess, I'm talking about attachment. Attachment and clinginess are two different things. Okay? Attachment means that you have a relationship. Clinginess means that your relationship is too dependent. You're not autonomous. Okay? The way you develop autonomy and becoming autonomous is to know you have somebody you can trust. Okay? In this chapter, there's all kinds of really good stuff on attachment and forms of attachment and how to do it. And you should always consider the differences in gender, the differences in different people. It's really good. I would be lying to you if I did not point out and show and tell you that research tells us that children do better when they have two parents or two caregivers taking care of them. There's the diversity of care. That diversity of care really helps children develop good skills. Now, I'm not trying to put a heavy weight on anyone. I'm just simply, as a person who is the professor, telling you the truth. Okay? What research tells us. Like it or not, that's the truth. Okay. Enough apologetics. You know where I'm coming from. I'm only interested in what's best for each person. All right. Another aspect of this chapter I want to point out is emotions. We've all felt emotions. Sometimes emotions get a bad rap. And people want to say it's best if you don't make decisions based on your feelings. Partially true, partially untrue. The truth is that you feel, that feeling is automatic, emotion is automatic, and what we're going to find in your reading especially, it's going to be pointed out that emotions are natural and you're born with emotions. Every infant has emotions, basic emotions that we're born with. We go from those basic emotions to developing what we'll call complex emotions, which are made up of different aspects of those basic emotions. Most of the complex emotions are developed from human interaction. You think about something like pride or shame or guilt. Could you develop those if you were all by yourself? No, probably not. Those kinds of emotions are developed from human interaction. You learn what you should be proud of. You learn what you should be ashamed of. Okay? So that's good. One of the most important aspects of development, human development, is not learning to ignore your emotion, but learning what to do with it, how to use the emotion positively. That's called emotional regulation. Children, we've all seen them, children who kind of lose control are not really losing control as much as they're losing control of using their emotions positively. We've all been somewhere and wanted something, and if you've been to the store, you see kids laying in the floors yelling, screaming, give me this, whatever. Okay, regulating emotions, you learn good emotions like patience. Yeah, you're going to get good things, but you got to wait for them, or you got to work for them, or something like that. Okay, regulation, emotional regulation. You also learn how to use emotions in human interaction. You're sad. I'm sorry. We'll put my arm around you, or whatever, comfort you. You're angry. I'm going to help you deal with that. Not that it's wrong to be angry. It's not wrong to be angry. Angry is natural. What is wrong to do is take that anger and kill somebody or beat them up or something like that. Okay, so we learn that. One of the best ways that we learn how to regulate emotions and how to think and how to make friends is through the context of play. And you're going to read a lot of wonderful things about play in this chapter, different kinds of play. I won't bore you by going through them all, but know there's a difference between playing with someone cooperatively and playing with someone as parallel play. Sometimes parents don't understand their children, and they think their children should be exactly like them, play like them. And I've always found as a child psychologist, the best thing to do is kind of hands off. Watch your kids. If they want to play by themselves, there's nothing wrong with that. Parallel play is sort of like that. You're there, the person you're playing with is next to you. You're playing individually, okay? There's still an interaction there that you're with someone, but you're not face to face with them and doing the same thing, okay? So there's that. Something else I think that comes out of this socio-emotional development is pro-social behavior. Pro-social being anything that would be good for a relationship. All right, sharing is good pro-social behavior. Altruism is doing, and altruism is anything that you do that you're not thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about any kind of reward. We want children to learn how to do that kind of stuff because that's important. It's important to for your own health, to be helpful, to interact with other people, and to often do things where you're not the center of attention, that you're helping somebody else. Even just being empathic, which means that you care about somebody else and you're putting yourself in their shoes and feeling what they're feeling. All of these kinds of experiences are necessary for children, and the best way to learn how to do this is to have it modeled. As adults, we can model altruistic, pro-social, and empathic behaviors so kids can learn. You don't say, we're going out and you're going to be empathic. You show your child by your interaction with your child how to be empathic and to care what they think. So anyway, it's basically this chapter 5. I hope you enjoy it. A lot of really good things to learn and to interact with and to discuss. I hope you have a great week. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in chapter 6.